All right, Gilmer County Schools would like to recognize our Golden Horseshoe winners, and it's a prestigious honor to get this, and there's other ceremonies in the state which these students will be honored, but what we're doing today is from our board, because we're proud of our students here and we're proud of their achievements, and this certificate says, Certificate of Achievement. This certificate is presented to Elena Stewart in recognition of your distinction as the 2025 Golden Horseshoe winner for Gilmer County. If you'll come up and get your picture taken with us, we would greatly appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Good job, young lady.
Very good. Yours. Move back right up here, and the board's going to get their picture with us. Yeah, absolutely. Good job. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, and our second winner, each year there's two of these, the top 8th grade students, and this says, again, Certificate of Achievement. This certificate is presented to Trenton Rose in recognition of your distinction as the 2025 Golden Horseshoe winner for Gilmer County. Very good, congratulations. It's yours.
I'll turn these in for these things. Sorry, guys. Hey, girl.
All right, congratulations, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Do you still get to go to Charleston and be knighted as a Knight of the Golden Horseshoe?
I believe they do. They have a celebration and they're knighted in front of the
Knights
delegation
and
in
ladies.
Charleston. Yeah.
Excellent job.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Some of the most interesting people. I think.
You are more than welcome to leave if you need to, or you can stay for the rest of the meeting. Yeah, you too.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, all right. Next under reports, we'll have the Leading Creek Governance Board. Let me find my notes. Okay, the Leading Creek Governance Board met on April 24th at 9 o'clock over at Leading Creek. We had the principal's report to begin with. Their enrollment right now is 116 students total. 103 are Lewis County students, and that does include some from Ritchie County and Doddridge, like that are open enrollment students in that number, and then 13 are Gilmer County students. As far as their test scores, their iReady data showed that they were 78% or 78% of their students met or exceeded the annual typical growth in reading and math. Their West Virginia GSA will be administered in grades 3 through 5 the week of May the 5th. As far as personnel, they let us know there will be some retirements, especially in service personnel, with possibly a classroom teacher out there retiring as well. But the big retirement at Leading Creek will be Principal Miss Kim Friedland is hoping to retire in early October 2025 with a lot of years. She was here, for many years and then is over there finishing out. So congratulations to Kim. As far as their curriculum, the staff was pleased with the purchase of iReady. It gives the students a better conceptual understanding of their reading and math. The staff has been implementing Kagan strategies, and they have attended 2 training courses throughout the school year and had consultants on site to help with their teachers and the implementations of that curriculum. They had no finance issues. As far as facilities, they had an HVAC compressor issue go out on their gymnasium, and they also are getting an outdoor building So that way their lawn tractors can be stored properly and not out in the weather, for their maintenance folks. We went over the bus schedule. The calendars between Lewis and Gilmer did not align for spring break this school year. Therefore, a lot of the Gilmer students had to miss school at Leading Creek on those days. Kim Freeland let us know that that doesn't typically happen, but it did this school year, which kind of led them to having their chronically absent rate fluctuate up and down. I asked if Mrs. Freeland had seen the upcoming calendar that we adopted. She said she had not, and Miss West was going to email her a copy so that way we could, just have them be able to look at the calendar and see if we're going to have that issue for this school year. As far as new business, their superintendent shared that she is working with JH Consulting to improve safety protocols at all of their schools. The one issue that has been noted at Leading Creek is their reunification plan. They don't have somewhere technically to go, being that it's kind of secluded right there on the county border. So they're going to call another meeting with us, and they would like some help with us to mobilize buses for transportation if they ever had to have an evacuation over there. And because we would be closer than them trying to get from Weston to get the kids evacuated. Mrs. Freeland also shared that Lewis County that the first Lewis County ALC for elementary students will be hosted at Leading Creek Elementary during the next school year. There is a teacher scheduled to be hired for that classroom, and they're glad to have that implemented to maybe help some of those students who need those extra services. There was no further business, so our next meeting over there will be September 25th at 9 a.m. And I can report back at the next meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you.
So we are to Calhoun Gilmer Career Center. Mr. Barton.
Well, as of the 22nd, they've identified 106 students that will be at the center for next year. 35 of those are Gilmer County students. We do have in the electrical course that we set up this year. For next year, there's a total of 9 students total that are enrolled in that. This is a few more students than they had this time last year, so that's a good thing. On May the 8th at 5 p.m. will be the pinning ceremony for the students that are in the medical field. Those that have taken their CNA test in the past, of course, when they graduate, and a lot of them already have jobs at Minnie Hamilton and some other places. So that's at 5 o'clock. If anybody's available, that would be, I'm sure they would appreciate us being there. Their senior appreciation day is May 15th. That's at 1 o'clock. And they have, honor-wise, they instituted their National Honor Society for vocational centers. And last year they had 3 kids. This year they inducted 51.
Heck yeah.
That's a marked difference. So expectations have gone up, and kids have been, they have worked at trying to meet them. As far as the personnel agenda, they had 3 people that were grant people, embedded English and math, and the adult ed. Those positions are grant funded, and those were RIF. If the grants come back, then they'll be reinstated. They think possibly they had been told once that they were, but they not got anything in writing. So, well, being cautious, they can always bring them back, but you couldn't do anything else with them. So there are 3 that were RIFed, but things are on the upswing. So that's what I have from down there.
Thank you, Mr. Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. All right, that'll take us out of reports, and we'll begin with the consent agenda and start with the approval of the minutes from April 15th, 2025 statutory meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 15th, 2025 statutory meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the April 15th, 2025 statutory meeting. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, on to the approval of the minutes of April 14th, 2025 special meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 14th, 2025 special meeting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the April 14th, 2025 special meeting. Any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we're to bills for payment. Ginger.
Had a couple little things to call to your attention. On the bill list that starts with LD Drain Families, we had a payment that to Regional Spelling Bee, participated in that. No, it was to Math Field Day, sorry, Spelling Bee we knew about. So we actually had to do that one kind of in reverse, but we're getting really good at putting notes on there, so you should see that we didn't have the proper paperwork in place when we found out, but now the paperwork is in place. Then, the one that starts with the new honor band. I thought that was a little bit confusing where we paid the actual auditor, Perry and Associates. Then we also paid the West Virginia State Auditor's Office. That is a requirement because if you have an outside firm do your audit, the state auditor's office must review it as well for any errors or any issues, and of course they charge the fee to do that. That's the only stuff I saw, unless questions.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve the bills for payment.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the bills for payment as presented. Is there any further discussion or amendments needed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, that'll bring us to new business, approval of arbiter, I guess they say that. Contract paid by Montgomery County High School Athletic Funds. Dr. Manning.
This is at the request of Gilmer County High School. It's what we currently, Arbiter is a program that currently schedules all the referees. They run through Arbiter, and for each section of the state, there's a scheduler and they schedule referees. This is an online payment platform that instead of us having the checks and everything ready on the day of payment, they pay the referees and then we pay them, or they deduct it.
We keep the amount funded in the.
Keep the amount funded in their system. So it's an online payment. Many districts across the state have already switched to it and are switching to it. But it's a fee to do this, but it streamlines the process of payroll for both sides at Gilmer County High School side, and the documentation that we keep on those tax documents and things like that. Arbiter keeps those types of things. So it's a service program, and it is a $1,639 a year fee. There is a one-time training of $495 to train the staff. So the first year is a little higher than subsequent years to train, but it's $1,639 a year, and it makes the payment of referees easier.
Does that include a certain number of referee payments already for the amount that you're paying for it? If it's a fee-based one, because if you're paying it all up front, but it's a transactional fee or?
No, it is for the software itself.
Okay.
And then we will load their system with funds to pay the referees like we.
Do we pay a fee on top of it for paying
Just this fee
just
that's
that
in
to use
front
this?
It's a software that we use to pay with.
Being an up at one time too, it's nice because sometimes you have an up, like something comes up and they're like, hey, can you cover that game? And then you go to the game and they have a check
Yeah,
sit there and it's not your name. It's like, but I've worked for schools that have this, and it's like, and I still have my check the next day.
Any type of changes and
So
things
much
like that
easier.
is done through their
Yeah,
system.
and it's automatic. Quick.
It's automatic,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I just wanted to be clear on
Are
how
they-
it's working.
Yeah, are they still using The LK officiating,
Scheduler, Arbiter uses all those same people, yeah.
Well, with some leagues there are, but like Little Canal, is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
LKC?
because they did have their own,
Yeah. Some of those boards, the LKC board really struggled a couple years ago, and I'm not for sure if it's still running. Eric Maxwell would know, but we about lost that, and we were having to get Mid-Ohio Valley guys.
that's what I'm talking, the Mid-Ohio Valley, Ohio West Virginia Board is what it actually is, and
Yeah.
that's where,
We would continue to use the same scheduler that we've had.
okay.
Any other questions? Anything else, Dr. Benny?
So are we asking for approval?
Do you have a recommendation?
Yes, I make the recommendation to you all to make a motion to approve the Arbiter contract in the amount of $21.34 paid for with GCH athletic funds with a start date of 7/1/25 and an end date of 6/30/26.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the Arbiter contract in the amount of $2,134 paid for with Montgomery County High School athletic funds with a start date of 7/1/25 and an end date of 6/30/26. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, discussion or possible action of extending the attendance bonus to service personnel. Dr. Minnie.
This is something we've looked at for a while to provide our service folks with a little incentive. Our service personnel have good attendance, and they don't receive an incentive right now like professional teachers receive an incentive for missing 4 days or less. They receive $500 for each person that does not attend or attends less than 4 days. So West Virginia code establishes that, and this would be on top of that. This would be effective however you guys determine it. It could be effective this year, but I wanted to run it by you. A classroom teacher that has not utilized 4 days of personal leave during a 200-day employment contract, they receive $500. This would do the same thing except with service personnel. And I wanted to put this on here for discussion because we're still working the kinks out of this and want to know if you guys are in favor of this. It would provide our service personnel a way to be rewarded for not missing more than 4 days, the same as our teachers. In our memo this week, I put out those exact numbers, what that would cost. And I don't know if we limit it to service personnel that are 200-day contracts or all service personnel. It probably has to go on a percentage base for all service personnel. But there's kind of it would cost up to about $10,000 to do it for everyone. Right now, if we did this year, it costs about $6,500 to recognize all of those service people that are 200-day contracts that have missed that little amount of work. With all those things being said, it also saves us money as an incentive because they're not hiring substitutes to do that. So it's a good little incentive. The folks are working hard. They're doing that. I just kind of wanted to get a direction from you all before I put an actual plan in front of you for approval. Do we want this to be just 200-day in contract service employees at around a $10,000 range? Do we want it, or excuse me, around the $6,500, or do we want it to include all service personnel and base it like service personnel that miss less than 1.5% of their work day, and we don't have that exact percentage, just an estimate, they would be eligible for that, and it would be around a $10,000 a year from our budget to them. And they would be paid a $500 incentive that they would receive until we decided that we would have to change something. But this is just a way to incentivize service personnel and reward service personnel, which are our best attendance folks, for coming to work.
What do we do with professionals? Is it all professionals or just?
It's in state code that professionals receive, if they miss 4 or less days, then they receive $500. But that's only teaching. like if Mr. Fox missed 4 or less days, he does not receive that.
Nobody cares.
Bus driver. Yeah.
That's what the service person, that's why we want to expand it to bus drivers, secretaries, cooks, maintenance workers, those types of things.
Well, it sounds like a positive thing to me.
Yeah.
Less substitutes needed.
Yeah, well,
Which
is a huge
it
expenditure.
saves because you're still paying it because they have those leaves, so you don't have to, it's extra money you're losing anyway, so. Help.
But it's just a discussion. I've got it on there. I have a finalized plan. I just kind of want to pick your guys' brain
I like
about
the idea.
what we can, would you like it to include all service personnel? If you did it?
I think we're going to do so.
Yeah, who would you
Yeah.
limit it to if you limited it?
Well, and that's like this, the state policy on professionals limited to 200-day employees, but there's a lot of, that takes out a lot of the service personnel. It takes out the maintenance workers. It takes out the custodians. So basically you'd be getting cooks. It takes out secretaries because some of those are over 200 days.
I think it ought to be based on a percentage for all service personnel.
I like
I
that.
do too.
Yep, I do too.
I'm good with that.
And we're going to try to make it around the same percent of time missed. It's, we haven't got that magic number, but whatever, 4 or 200, make it about the same percent. And if they can reach that, it'll be 5 days, maybe 6 days. Some of our maintenance workers are 250, so they might get an extra day or so, but it will be based on a percent for those folks, and they could receive it.
It sounds like, I think we're all on the all service, and then you figure out the percentage.
Yep.
And
bring
come
us
back
a
and
plan.
bring back a plan.
Yep.
And that's exactly the discussion I wanted to have, and that was all this was just a discussion, so I'd get an idea of if you guys were supportive of it and to move forward with it and be able to reward those folks that are already missing very few days.
Sounds good to me. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Okay. All righty, we'll move on to discussion of facilities usage, GSU and Gilmer County Schools. Dr. Minnie.
This is just the first conversation I want to have with the full board. I am working with Dr. Manchin and David Hutchinson and Tommy Ratliff in developing a long-term facilities usage agreement for both Gilmer County Schools and GSU. We currently utilize our facilities in multiple ways, and we would like to lock in a rate of pay over time. And I just wanted to front load the board and have the discussion. This would be everything from, using the ballroom for our awards ceremonies to using the new football field. And we'd like to secure something longer over time. And I'm currently working with Bowles Rice to come up with an agreement to put before you guys with a number, a figure, and how we use their facilities and how we share as partners in education back and forth. And I just wanted to front load the board to make sure everybody was aware of that and try to let you guys have an understanding that we have a reciprocal relationship with the college. They treat us very well, and we would like to kind of lock that in over time. We have Dr. Manchin's support and all the folks there, so we can maintain a good relationship there to use those facilities. And we can play on quality fields. We can use auditoriums, and we don't have the funding to build an auditorium or a football stadium or all of those things. But we have the ability to make a longer term commitment to each other. And I'm working on that, and I should hopefully soon have an agreement to be made by, I'm sure, their board of governors and our board, or Dr. Manchin and our board, that will spell out all the specific details of how we utilize each other and facilities, and how we can help each other as partners in ed over a longer time period.
I think it's a great idea.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
Just keep in mind, when you're negotiating, we train a lot of student teachers here.
I have kept that in
exactly what
mind.
I said. That's exactly what I said.
The only thing with that in mind, that'd be the first hammer I'd use on them. But then I have a friend of mine that's a superintendent in another county, and he has to squirrel away $70,000 a year to redo the football field in 10 years. and that won't quite cover putting it down. And you don't have, if you think of it like this, you got no maintenance.
Mhm.
You don't have any upkeep. You pay a fee, show up and play, and get the heck out of Dodge. You know, the only thing you got is if there's cleanup, and where I came from, we paid the juniors to clean up after the activities, and that was their prom fundraiser. So, I mean, so it's, the money stayed in-house, but when you think we do such and such, but if you were actually renting that facility for what, $300 for playing a football game?
It's always scary.
Is even the lights.
Yeah, it's always scared me too, because it's always just been a gentleman's handshake
Yeah,
to be able to have
yeah.
usage of it. And to actually lock in something saying that we have the
Yes.
right to play there, I think would be very beneficial.
It's like the other evening, the seniors I've been the last 2 years, they did their plays. They've done a phenomenal job each year. But, you know, there's no sound system for them. There's the lighting, poor kid was down flipping switches and lights there on the, you know, from the gym floor to put them in a quality place to where.
Yeah, they have a real, you know,
and-
Yeah, for us to,
auditorium, like a real
yeah, the
auditorium.
Right.
facilities there are just very nice for us to be
Yes,
able to
so,
use.
you know, but my opinion is if we can get it for a reasonable rate, I'd be willing to do it, because like I said, there's, you know, a lot of things we use. The art show, it'd be a phenomenal place to have it. Or if you had a music concert, then those are built in, you can use that where your kids are actually performing in an auditorium and not up on a,
Yep, swimming pool.
stage.
I mean, that-
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Go for it.
Yep, I am.
Okay.
I just wanted to front load you guys that those discussions are being had, and we're going to try to come up with a plan that everybody can agree on and solidify a long-term partnership with GSU for those types of things.
All right. We don't have any new old business, so that'll move us into personnel. Dr. Minnie.
Professional, we got Linda Cordera, resignation, GCHS foreign language teacher, effective 6/5/25.
Make a motion to approve the professional section of the personnel agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the professional section of the personnel agenda. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Alrighty, on to service.
Service personnel, we have recommendations for hire. Karen Miller, classroom supervisory transportation aide, grade 3, Gilmer County Elementary School. That's for the 25-26 school year. Leslie Turner, classroom supervisory and transportation aide, grade 3, Gilmer County Elementary School, 25-26 school year. And Emily Hoyt, classroom supervisory transportation aide, grade 3, 2025-26 school year.
Make a motion to approve the service portion of the personnel agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the service portion of the personnel agenda as presented. During further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, on to extracurricular.
Extracurricular, we have Christopher Carr, recommendation for hire auxiliary varsity football coach.
Make a motion to approve the extracurricular portion of the personnel agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the extracurricular portion of the personnel agenda. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right. Nothing else on there. So we're into continuous improvements, iReady data and PSAT data presentation. Ms. West.
Hello, Ms. West.
Hello.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
See a lot of green, no red. That's a good thing, right?
Well, it's my color coding system, so let's talk about it. So we're going to start with looking at the iReady benchmarks. This is end of year. We've already completed this with our 3rd through 8th grade as a predictor for what we may see on general summative. And so at the top, you have your reading data. And at the bottom is the math. And you can see that we have our percentages from last year's end of year per grade level with reading, and then the percent for GSA. One of the things to keep in mind between iReady and GSA is that when we're looking at that reading score in GSA, writing is a part of that ELA score. And when we take the iReady, there isn't a writing piece to that. So you can see some grade levels maybe dropped, others increased. For some of our students, they excel at the writing. For others, the writing is a struggle. And so that impacts that ELA score when we're discussing GSA. If you go over to the other half of the page, you can see where we are with end of year benchmarks in reading at this point per grade level, per building, and then the county. Now, I do want to caution you on the county. When you come across county average over to the GSA, something to keep in mind is when we go to that accountability information in the fall, it will also include our SAT juniors. So when we get that overall county, and of course, at this point, we do not have that. So the math at the bottom, again, you can see by grade level where they ended the year last year in math, and then where they were according to GSA. And again, I've got the averages per school and then the county data also. And then we come over to the other half of the page, and it's where our math is currently end of year, 3rd through 8th grade.
Do you care if I interject?
And Dr. Mint, yes.
So if you want to look at the top, very top left where it says 40.6, this is 3rd through 5th. That's where they ended last year in iReady. And you can see iReady this year, it's at 52.3 in reading. And then again in math, or in reading, 18.67 for the middle school. You can see it's jumped up to 27.3 in reading for the middle school. With a prediction of 39.83, which doesn't include the writing section, and it doesn't also include our 11th grade scores. Our goal for that is 47, and we're hopeful that if we do really good in writing and we include those 11th grade scores, we're going to get pretty close to that. We have some students that are included in this that did not meet our full academic year that won't be included in GSA that will help our test scores. So we're about 7% below our goal. And with those adjustments, we're hoping that we can be pretty close to our goal. And in math, the same way, not as much growth in math, just a percent or two, but we've got 46 and 46.6 and 19.6 and 21, which is 33.8. Our goal in math was 37. So we got about 3% there that we've got to make up. Now, these results are from a few weeks ago. So we've been in class and we've been identifying the blueprint and where to work at to get those last percent. So we're hopeful that, we're going to be pretty close to our math goal of 37% too. We have improved scores to work off of at this point in time, but that also doesn't include in math the 11th grade cohort that hopefully will bump us up better than the 11th grade cohort did last year. So we're hoping to catch 2 or 3% off of that. It's going to be really close.
So then the second page is our PSAT data from last year. And I highlighted last year's 10th grade, which is our current juniors. So you can see last year how they scored as sophomores on the PSAT in reading or the ERW, math, and then overall, those who hit the mastery score in both content areas. So those percentages are, again, helping us to predict what we hope to see in our accountability in the fall. And then the third page is our PSAT data. Again, this is not embargoed because this is not a state required test. It is something that Gilmer requires of our students. It's the 9th grade and 10th grade data. So we'll start with ERW, similar to ELA. The Gilmer average was a 404. The state, just public schools, 404. All West Virginia schools, 406. And the national was a 440. In ERW, the score you want to achieve is a 410 in the 9th grade. And 31.68 or 48% of our freshmen did that.
Now, what I think is impressive about that 48% of our freshmen, if you turn back and look at the first page as 8th grade and look at their iReady and their general summative was 26.39%. So that's a pretty good jump from 8th grade to 9th grade, meeting the benchmark. And we're talking a very small group. We just talked about this with between 40 and 50 kids. If you move 4 kids, those could jump up 10%. And we have those students identified and the intervention taking place to make sure their test scores won't reflect on our accountability until their 11th grade year. So we have mastery prep with interventionists, and so we're already meeting the state average. We're trying to take those kids above the state average a good bit.
And then 10th grade ERW, the average for Gilmer was a 446, whereas the state was a 429, 430, and the national is a 459. And again, 52% of our sophomores achieved that benchmark score. So then in math, we have our freshmen, 372. The state was a 367 or 368, and the national was a 418. 14% of our freshmen hit the benchmark of 450. And our sophomores, the average was a 434, whereas the state was a 396, 397. The national was a 449. And 33% of our sophomores hit the benchmark score of 480. And again, this is data. These are numbers that our students are becoming more familiar with. These are the conversations we're having with our students. And then the last table at the bottom is students who achieved both benchmark scores in ERW and in math, freshmen and sophomores. So I think this is something that we can celebrate.
We're making big strides.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get to that national level in 2 years with those groups. And our 10th grade cohort next year looks like that they can be very close to that national average. And there's not.
Already above the state, though.
Yeah,
That's good that we're above the state average.
So we're hoping to get to that national average. And then the different programs that we have in writing, the top score writing, they're being implemented at the middle school. And then, of course, we've got all sorts of stuff planned for next year. Like hopefully next meeting, you'll see a proposed new schedule that we can show that we are trying to get more instructional time in there for those middle grades to kind of solve that achievement gap of those middle grades where they can have more time in ELA and math and be truly departmentalized and hopefully we're going to see some major growth from that because these cohorts of students, when you're looking at 40% or 50% test scores, to get those to jump from 47 to 57 is 4 kids. And it's not very many students. It's doable.
Again, SAT data and GSA data will be embargoed until fall. So those columns are blank until we come back and we can talk about it in the fall. Our parents will have access to data. Even as students are completing their GSA pretty quickly, it's going to be in the portal. Parents will receive letters with information with codes. So that is coming. But again, it is something that we can't be discussing until fall. The parents and students will be made aware of.
Thank you, Ms. West.
Yep, thank you.
I think looking at those national scores, because state averages, it's kind of thrown in the trash can because of the fits. But if you look at those national averages from ninth graders and the sophomores, you're either there or you're within striking distance of
Yeah.
being there. So,
And to know to make that difference is only a couple students, just a
Yes.
handful.
yeah,
Make it
so,
Well, even the 440 for the ninth graders, we averaged a 404. We have three full years basically, but 2 complete full years of mastery prep
yes.
that hopefully will increase those scores, those 36 scale points.
But like I said, these people, our people, not these people, our people have done and our students and staff have done a pretty good job this year looking at this. They've worked hard. And, so like I said, I'm anxious to see this. The one that comes out that I'd say actually counts, but the one you're graded upon, I think that kids are taking it seriously. I think that's.
It's been a lot of work over the last few years to get to this point, and now we're within
Yeah.
striking distance of excellence.
We are going.
We really are. That's.
Interventionists are working.
And we are going to go to the classrooms tomorrow, right, Mr. Fox? And Mr. Fox and I are going to provide some incentives to all of those kids and discuss with each group individually what the test means, what it means for us, highlight to those students we're 4 or 5 kids short from really being considered excellent, and trying to inspire those students to do their absolute best on that test. I think it's going to make a difference. I think it made a difference when we took our SAT school day. I think that our 11th grade cohort's going to make an impact on those overall percentages in a positive way. And I'm very hopeful that this will also inspire maybe 3 or 4, even just 3 or 4 kids can raise the test scores 10%. And we got some ideas that we think that even will motivate middle school students that to score on those tests. And those might be some fun ideas. And I might even let them shave my head if they want to.
That's not near as fun.
Right. You got skin in the game, and those kids appreciate skin in the game, and they really don't have any. We got a lot. So you've got to figure out some way to get them to have some in the game. So that's good.
All righty. Thank you, Ms. West. We'll move on to report of graduation rate data. Mr. Fox.
Appreciate you guys. There you go. I just take one and pass it down if you don't mind. Just wanted to focus in on 2 areas, 2 cohorts for graduation rate purposes. The first is for our 10th grade cohort, which is the class of 2027. Looking at that right now, as you go through graduation, the outlook, 100% of our students in 10th grade are currently on track to graduate. There's multiple pieces of that. Those indicators to use in that evaluation are their credits completed. At this time, all students have earned the expected number of credits to this date. Now, we understand that that is up to this date. They finished classes coming up. We have a team put together. We're continuously monitoring this to identify the individuals if we feel that there's concerns. And we'll continue to do that, whether it's next week going in, if we have to find those things to credit recover. But at this moment right now, we up to date, we are good on that. Course enrollments. Students are also enrolled in the required courses to continue progressing towards graduation. So they're all in the courses that they need towards graduation at this point. And then there's the behavior and attendance pieces. That there's no, when we look into Zoom E, that there's no issues right now with any of those that may cause concern. And I've included action steps on here too, is ongoing. We're quarterly monitoring this. We're getting to that last quarter right now. And as we start to find these individuals, if we do, we have early intervention systems put in place where we have counselors going in, we're working, we're our interventionists, we're working with all these individuals, SAT meetings, to be able to identify these areas and to hit those early.
Just as an update, if you guys remember, a couple years ago, we were in the red with our 10th grade cohort with our accountability scorecard. We had a very high number of students, over 30%, that were not on track to graduate. And that was one of the areas that was a main concern of this board. Last year, that number was 83%. This year, we have them all right now. I'm guessing the number could drop. You might have a kid fail a class between now and then, but we're looking to be over the 90th percentile with this cohort. And just to reiterate where we came from with, 70% on track compared to this is a big achievement. We've been monitoring this and we have to get this because we were on the red on the scorecard with this, our 10th grade accountability. And this is an area that we cannot and should not be in the red with our 10th grade accountability.
The last one is kind of the more up, the piece that's right now that sometimes we want to really focus on is that 12th grade cohort, the 2025 class. Looking at that right now, and this is a hard conversation to have, but once students in that senior class are currently on track to graduate. What I mean by that is right now, we feel good about all those students. One student is identified being at high risk of not meeting that graduation requirement. We are meeting with that individual daily, targeting supports and being provided to help this student complete all necessary coursework. This is not a weekly ongoing thing. This is a daily ongoing conversation that we're having with this family and an individual. And then we put their close collaboration is ongoing within the student and the family. This hasn't just started last week. This has been work that we've been working on since, I know with this individual, since December when I really got rolling in here. So we're making some ground on that, and I think we're getting things put in place. And we're going to continue to monitor all seniors closely, whether they look good right now or not. We have Mrs. Fox is working with these seniors right now, and we are continuously pulling grades, looking at these grades, and to make sure that if there are any signs of risk that we can address it at the time. And if there are, then we're going to intervene immediately.
That's great.
Very
Any questions?
excited.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Fox.
Thank you,
Look
Mr.
forward to
Fox. All righty, that'll move us to the superintendent's update.
I just got a few things. Like I said, testing is coming up. We're coming up in the testing season. We have already, we've been having data meetings in our central office leadership team. We've talked about these scores. We've desegregated the data. We're looking at the blueprints and how we can help each cohort move forward. Mr. Fox and I are going out to give the pep talk. And we're hoping that we inspire everybody that we're going to go from classroom to classroom. And I know we're a little short on our reading. We're 6 or 7 points short. That's without our FAE and our 11th grade in there. We could be very close to meeting those goals. And we set high goals. We set them 10% higher. So we could be very, very close to meeting those goals. And we're going to go out and do everything that we possibly can in our power to get us to meet those goals. We're walking into every classroom. We're letting the students pick some of the incentives. Hopefully we don't have to do anything too wild to get them to try their best, but we've done everything. We've called coaches. We've got their coaches talking to them about it. We're really working at trying to get that complete. Some of the other things that we're doing, hopefully that will benefit next year. We're reorganizing. We're just trying to get the very last tweaks on our dual credit programming, and then our schedule will be available to show you all, which will include a longer instructional period for each core classroom. So there'll be an academic block. We're keeping in some of our elective credits by having a 5th type of block, but moving towards a block schedule. We've worked with our leadership team, our teachers. We've had, I don't know how many meetings. I've worked over there a lot of days trying to make it as perfect as we can to have an impact on the classroom. Just want to give everybody a reminder, there's a lot of end of the year events. Check that bulletin weekly. There's a lot of things that you can attend. It's going to be, you know what it's like in May. It's a whirlwind to the end. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. One thing that I wanted to mention that we're running into, and I've talked with Howard Sufer about, is actually developing a policy on employee attendance. we got several employees that are going beyond their usage of days. And his recommendation was for us as the board, or you all as the board, and me is trying to help you along with this, is to approve a policy that has specific guidance on people that use more than their allotted days. We have areas of improvement, and we need to have our teachers in the classroom. And teachers that constantly miss is an issue with our students being able to perform. And this is nobody's fault this year, because we've had employees that aren't here. But we have some of our lowest test scores in areas that we have subs in. And that's because it's a ongoing, not saying the subs are bad, but they're not like a regular employed teacher. So we need to come up with an attendance policy for employees that really draws the line in the sand of how many days extra that they can use. And I will be putting that together and where you guys can be an active part in making those decisions. I wanted to say we need to have a work session, special meeting, something to do the superintendent evaluation. This is not the year we have to do it in March, but we probably need to do it in the next meeting or so. And I wanted to give you guys that highlight with the highlight that Cody sent out the email. I don't want to steal his thunder. I'm sure he'll tell you about it, but just to remind everybody, check their email that they got their board survey in there, and we're going to have to do that evaluation process and so on and so forth. And I pulled everything last week from last year, and I have everything ready to go for that to do the evaluation process with you all. That's all I've got.
All righty, we'll start with board member comments. Mr. Chapman.
Not a whole lot, just the end of the year. I know I'm a big fan of softball and baseball, and those two are looking really good at the high school level and junior high levels. I'm just proud of them and their hard work that they put into the season as they go into tournaments and sections and what such not. I just wish them the best of luck. I'll tell the seniors to finish strong and just give the staff you got one more month, leg it out.
All right, I guess I'll go real quick. Can't wait. I sent out to everybody, we have to do the county board self-appraisal. So I've sent it out. I've got 2 responses back. So if you all can complete that, like Dr. Minnie said, I mean, I'd say the next meeting or the meeting after, let's just go ahead and schedule that work session and get his evaluation and that self-appraisal done. And then that way we don't have to hear about it and keep getting reminded from the state that it's due constantly. I appreciate everybody's help by the improvement in the test scores. Look good. We got hardworking people doing their thing each day. And if we can keep that path going and finish the year out strong, I think we'll be good to go. Dr. Miller.
I found myself getting emotional with all the improvement I'm seeing. The last 3 years, I've just been really proud of our staff and everybody buckling down and coming together and working towards one goal, and all of the changes, sometimes kicking and screaming, that we've had to make over the last 3 years to make this possible. But I'm really proud that our county has made this change and this dedication to our students and to their lifetime well-being and productivity. And I'm very happy. It's after all of the abuse I suffered to start the change. I'm just very pleased that it has resulted in this.
Mr. Fresher.
Let's finish strong.
Go team!
All righty, Mr. Martin.
Like I said, I would encourage everybody, there's a lot of activities, but for us, as many of those activities as we can get to, the kids know, like Mr. Fox, they know when he's there, when he's not there, and they notice when we're around too. So the more of them we can get to in our busy schedule, the more good we do to them and everybody that has, like I said, those test scores, those look pretty good. And when you can say you're close to national average, to me, that means something. And that's a lot of work not only on the faculty, but on the students. They're buying, so things seem to be improved. And I talked to you gentlemen the other day about one thing. I hate those seniors have to make that choice. That's not and after Friday night, there's some of them that will have to make that choice. And that's not a good thing. So if we can do something about it next year, would greatly appreciate it. But I think everybody is working hard, so go team.
Go team.
All right, do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been properly moved and second. We adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Yeehaw.
Thank you, ma'am.
See ya.
See you.
Adios.
Tony, who's talking at the academic faculty this year?
Thank you.
I'll have to refer that to Mr. Fox.
It
Mr.
is, I promise we have some of that overdue.
There you are.
Now, when I don't understand it, can I call?
Yeah, just call me. Yeah, because some of those are last year's and this year's, and they're
Well, I
pretty,
made myself a
they're
little
predictions,
chart
they're
while y'all were
predictions,
talking.
they're predictions, so.
Oh, well,
As I say,
I know, I haven't been, I tried to go up there and see him and he wasn't there. And then he swung by the house and he's like, I gotta go to the courthouse, I'll be back. I said, well, I gotta go to the board meeting, it's so high.
Some of them were, but he gave me an
Yeah,
OT
so
tonight,
hopefully,
so,
well, now it's going up.
I mean, I wrote the
Hopefully I'll
story,
get him
obviously
straightened
it's
out.
there. We have a letter to the editor this week saying, why can't you do more about the good stuff that happens at schools? Well, because Myra doesn't know these people. But now I know who they are, so next week I should be able to.
And we'll start, if you need stuff, we'll start sending you Project Connect stuff again if you want it to run.
I'd love it.
Yeah, we'll start, I'll, when I meet with them, I meet with them every couple of weeks. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago. We should have a meeting coming up. I'll start telling them to flow stuff their way again. Yep.
My husband's gonna start writing a column for us
Oh, cool.
about health and fitness stuff.
That's neat.
And they called me this weekend, I was in Ohio, and I was like, yeah, we'd love that.
Next year, we're gonna have a longer class period for all this. We should get a student college.
That'd be cool. We would love that.
Because right now, we don't have the long periods built in, but next year we will.
You're changing the day?
Yeah, we're gonna go back to a block schedule.
Oh, okay.
So they'll have
True.
they'll have a journalism broadcast, yeah, so we should have a student college.
I actually have a degree in journalism, so I can actually talk to this.
Yeah, that would be.
And I've done broadcasting, and I've done.
So that would be good for the kids to do, and it would be something that, you know, they could have